Josh Moss with Affordable Heating and Cooling provides residential HVAC and duct cleaning services to the Middle Tennessee area. With more than 20 years of experience, Josh Moss and the AHC team provide 24/7 service and take care to ensure whatever work you need done is done in a professional, timely manner. Contact AHC at 615-745-1676. That's 615-745-1676. Or go to their website at affordableheatingandcoolingtn.com.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance Policy Perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Mike and Felicia Sparks, owner of the Vanity Zone Salon, want to invite you to stop in for your next haircut or color. Their stylists Michelle, Tori, Tracy, Brandy, Sarah, and Gail offer the best creative cuts and color for all ages, for men and women. The Vanity Zone is located at 732 Nissan Drive in Smyrna, to the right of the Crystals Restaurant. To look and feel your best, visit the Vanity Zone Salon today. Call 615-355-1721 to book your next appointment.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we're committed to providing local car owners with top-notch auto repair services. With over 2 decades of experience, our ASC certified master technicians are experts in both foreign and domestic vehicles, ensuring accurate diagnosis and timely, cost-effective repairs. From oil changes to major engine and transmission repairs, we've got the cure for your car. Dr. Automotive, keeping your car running smoothly, mile after mile. Visit our website, smyrnaautorepair.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Marcus Manise. I am the founder and executive director of Strong in My Father Youth and Family Services. Our organization is designed to help young men growing up in homes with our father have a better chance at a better life and a better opportunity. Our organization is preventative, so our goal is to prevent kids from going to jail, juvenile, but live out the purpose that God truly has designed for them. For all information on our organization, if you're looking for a mentorship program and your child is between grades 2nd through 9th, we encourage you to go to our website, stronginmyfather.org, for more information. Sign up to be a part of Stronger Sons mentorship program. And then we're hoping that this program continue to help your son live out the true dreams that God truly has designed for them.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a big box or furniture store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by the Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to CelebrateRecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
When I say VFW, you probably have some visions of a smoke-filled bar with a bunch of old-timers eyeballing you. Well, the Stones River VFW is doing things different. No smoke-filled rooms, no turning prospective members away, and a strong emphasis on camaraderie and community. We believe in instilling our American values in our young people through numerous programs such as Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, Scout of the Year, and VFW Teacher of the Year. Stones River Post intends on becoming a driving force to help, aid, and assist wartime veterans. So if you're one of those veterans with a campaign medal and you want that sense of purpose that you've been missing, then give our recruiter Andrew Farr a call at 615-490-5715.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
This is Conversations with Mike Sparks.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, your community? Then you're in the right place. State Representative Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk about local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
All right, you're listening to the Conversation with Mike Sparks. I'm your host, Mike Sparks. Got a big show tonight. Got a special guest, my buddy Pettis Reed, a guy I have a lot of respect for. And Pettis juggles a lot of balls in the air for Rutherford County, and I think it's making a difference for the future generations and hopefully my two new grandbabies. And before we go to Pettis and Roger Thomas here, I've got our trusted interns calling in with the invitation. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Doing
y'all
good.
Hear me? Y'all hear me good?
Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first off, long-time intern, first-time caller, if you can believe. But yeah, Mike wanted me. We have a Corporate Baptist Church in Furnace, Tennessee, is hosting their VBS for their 2025 VBS. The theme is Magnified. I believe coming off of Psalm 34, I believe. I don't know the verse off the top of my head, but the theme is Magnify the Lord. And so, yeah, we have classes for all age ranges, all the way down from child all the way up to teenager. But yeah, yeah.
So Parkway Baptist Church. Parkway Baptist Church,
Yep.
Lee Victory Parkway in Smyrna, across from Starbucks. Now, do y'all start tonight at 6?
Yeah. Actually, we start at 5:30. So
5:30.
a little
Okay.
Pep rally. Yeah, the little pep rally for it starts at 5:30.
And then tomorrow, Monday through Thursday?
Yeah, tonight's kickoff, and then it goes until Thursday.
Yeah, everyone's welcome. So if you got youngins, bring them on over there. And y'all feeding them too?
I believe so. I believe they do get some sort of snacks, but band staff members, a little trade secret. We have our own little food court here.
Y'all do?
At the church.
Yep.
So we've got meals provided to us by different Sunday schools.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate I seen Brother Shelby on guitar today, man. Not many pastors out there up there on stage playing electric guitar.
Yeah, well, Pastor Shelby is one of them. So, yeah.
And that was good. And you play the drums, and what else do you play? The fiddle?
Mike, I wish I could play the fiddle. I'd play a mean fiddle if I could.
Yeah.
I'm one of those musicians who really wants to learn an instrument. So if you put a fiddle in my hands, I will learn that thing. So.
That's I know. Got faith in you. You're very talented. I heard you sing that day. Do you remember the name of the song that you sang?
Yeah, it's I said yes. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay. All right. You need to work on that one then. Anyways, well, thank you. VBS starts tonight, 5:30, Parkway Baptist Church. You know the address out there?
Oh, man.
Anyways, it's across from Publix and Starbucks. I should know the address. I've been going there 15 years. I should know.
I should too. I've been going there a lot longer too.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, any final words?
I'll try to see. Well, I probably won't be able to hear a majority of the show, but I'll probably.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah. Well, tell Brother Shelby I said hello. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, man. Take care, buddy.
We'll see, man. Be good. Vacation Bible School, and my wife's really involved with the toddlers and teaching and all that. Man, I tell you, Pettis, when I was a little kid, I was like rebel kid. I didn't like to go to Sunday school. None of that. The only way I'd go is because they had Kool-Aid and a cookie there. And when I was growing up, we didn't have no Kool-Aid we didn't have nothing like that, Did you have a lot of Kool-Aid and cookies growing up?
Well, yeah, you always had those wafer cookies. Yeah. That was a standard at Vacation Bible School. And I didn't have those at home, and I thought those were pretty good.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It motivated me. I remember I grew up at St. Rose, going to the Catholic Church, and I'd skip out, and the guy, I always remember that man. I'm sure he's deceased now. He'd come chase me down and drag me to Sunday school. I wasn't a good. My mom wanted me to be an altar boy. I wouldn't do it. And that's sad. God forgive me for saying that. Sorry, Mom. She's up there in heaven, probably like shaking her head at me.
Well, if you grew up where I grew up, you didn't have an opportunity to be a rebel. Everybody around there knew who you were, and they knew your family.
But y'all didn't have no Catholics around there, neither.
No,
did you?
You didn't. And but it's pretty much everybody knew whose child you were. In fact, you were everybody's child.
Yeah.
It didn't. You got in trouble, somebody would jerk you no matter who it was. It didn't have to be your mother or father.
Kind of miss those days,
And then when Sunday come around, why aren't you in church? And that's where you were. I still remember, revivals and things. I can remember sitting in that old church when the windows, you didn't have air conditioning, that sort of thing. The window was all the way to the top, and they would have revivals at night. And I can remember one time I asked my parents, there used to be a pew along that window. At that old church. And
you're not talking about
no, this is out at Rockville.
Okay.
And Versailles, and the pew was near the window, and nobody sat on it usually. And I was sitting there between a bunch of adults, and it was August. It was hot.
Yeah.
I said, can I sit over there? And she said, yeah, give it a try. And I went over and sat down, and he was going through this preaching, and it was pretty straightforward and whatever, but I was sitting there and I could hear the frogs outside. I could hear all of that, and right outside the window was the cemetery.
Oh.
And I was sitting there, and the more I sat there, I started getting the loneliness that nobody was with me. And right outside that window was the cemetery and all those noises going on.
Yeah.
And the next thing you knew, I was over there between my mother and father. That's where I ended up.
I bet. Yeah.
But I grew up in the country like that, with country churches, and everybody knew you, who you were, and whenever I left to go to anything, my mother would always say, "Remember who you are and who you represent."
Yeah.
And I still today, that's remember who you are.
Yes. Speaking of remember who you are, you've got something you wanted to talk about in Smyrna happening here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the 4th of July at Smyrna Lee Victory Park. It's going to be Thursday at 5 p.m. and the fireworks start at, July the 3rd, 5 p.m. Thursday. The fireworks start at dark, and the rain-out date is actually that Saturday, the 5th, 5 o'clock, and at Lee Victory Park.
Smyrna does a good job.
Yeah, we went there last year, and it was really good. Thinking about taking my great granddaughter, my grandson. He said something. Yeah, she'll be 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old a fella are you?
I'm in the 70s.
Great grandbaby.
But anyway, Pettis is talking about church. I was raised in old Jefferson.
Y'all both Church of Christ, ain't you?
Yeah, old Jefferson Church of Christ.
Is it true what they say about Church of Christ?
Well, I don't know. You're the dancer. I know it's no dancing, but you're the dancer. He's a dancer.
Connor,
right
you
here.
Church of Christ?
The denomination?
Yeah. No. Oh, you're not.
But
no, they always say y'all stick together.
He's done stopped talking and gone to meddling.
Yeah, but I was named after my dad was a deacon. He used to talk about country churches.
Yeah.
My dad was a deacon, my uncle's a deacon, and we lived down the hill from them, and it was, it was like 6 boys.
In Old Jefferson.
Old Jefferson, yeah, and we sat on the back row. And my dad, and I was named after the preacher of all people.
Really?
Paul Rogers. Have you heard of Paul Rogers? I was named after Paul Rogers. That's why I got the last name was the first name. But anyway, this is the bad thing. You get 6 kids on the back row. And, their dad and uncle toward the front, deacons, they had the same seats every time.
Yeah.
If somebody did something like a stomach growl or anything, like if you got giggling, anything.
Yeah.
And if I saw my dad looking back, it was belt.
Man.
It was belt. It wasn't.
I bet.
It wasn't go to the corner. You got. It was discipline back then. yeah. After church, getting beat after church. We tried to avoid all that, but sometimes you just couldn't help it. Like be one of the cousins.
Back in that day, there was you had Methodist, you had some Baptists, you had some Church of Christ, and that was see
Presbyterian.
Yeah,
Presbyterian Church.
And actually, that's what Smyrna's named after, wasn't it? Was it Smyrna Presbyterian Church?
Yeah,
I believe the one it was.
And it was Stewartsburg to begin with.
Oh yeah,
Stewartsboro. Which is that? Would that be between Chicken Pike and Old Nashville Highway up on the hill?
Somewhat. That's
John's farm, John's property.
You talking about Dick John's right there across from me on Chicken Pike?
Wouldn't it kind of be between there and Old Nashville Highway where the Stewart's Creek is, and Nissan?
Yeah, Stewart's Creek is actually on the other side, halfway down. Stewart's Creek School. So I'm assuming it was that area right to where Stewart's.
But when the Civil War, when the Confederates set up, that's where they had to set up.
Stewartsboro is right there. It was a. Okay.
Up on that little bit of that rise.
Yeah, because we checked it out one time with metal detectors before Frank Crosland built his house there.
That's right.
That hill.
Frank Crosland.
Yeah, you're right. Because we actually went over there with metal detectors and stuff. My uncle.
What'd y'all find?
Oh man, we found everything. We
Really?
found powder keg bands. We found a metal canteen about a foot in the ground. All kind of buckles and everything. He's getting
What's
ready.
some Confederate buckles worth now?
Confederate buckles, the CSA,
yeah,
a lot more than what the USA. The USA is one that's more common, but
they used to be worth, was it $5,000? And that was years
I don't
ago.
think it'd be that much because the internet and everything nowadays. I think there's a lot more out there than people probably thought.
Well, that little area, you remember when they found those Indian graves by the bridge? Where they were doing the excavating on the road.
Was it?
Yeah, they seriously they found Indian burial mounds or something over there.
Yeah.
I don't think the burial mounds. It was just graves.
Yeah.
When they did the road work right there.
I don't remember that one, but I know Troy Ross come by the other day, and he was showing one. He walked up on when the water's down over on I say Stones River, Percy Priest. When the water's down, it's perfect arrowhead. He walked up on it and it was just sitting there like ready to pick up. He said he couldn't believe it. He's got a little video of it. He showed me a video.
Yeah.
I've got several.
Where's he at? Jefferson Springs?
Out there, Old Jefferson, all that area.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've got one that's really as good as his. He was talking about his, but I didn't find mine. My uncle found that one.
Pettis, you're talking about Troy Ross. You know Jim Ross? They own the farm in front of Nissan. Troy's family.
I know who you're talking about.
Right there where the T-Cat and stuff is. What did y'all find a lot of that kind of stuff growing up?
Oh yeah,
arrowheads.
I have a collection of arrowheads that come off my farm, where I live right now. Some of those date back to 1,500, 3,500 years ago, but I would find those. This was my grandfather's farm up above. We used to milk cows for them and had a big watering trough. And one of my responsibilities was keeping that water in that watering trough. And when the cows would go out after milking, they'd walk around that trough and it would become muddy.
Yeah.
And I could go in there and that mud, arrowheads would come up in that mud and you would find it. I have found some of the most unusual arrowheads. There's a rock that comes off of that knob out there.
Yeah.
It's a white looking rock. And I've got white arrowheads made from it.
Man.
Cool.
So there's a lot of that. It comes off the Versailles knob. That's where a lot of people call the Indian fort, the Indian table that's up there.
Yeah, you and I talked about that last year.
All that's up there. But, the top of it, top 44 acres have been purchased by the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
And it's going to be turned into a preserve. They're protecting it. There are some federally protected wildflowers and this sort of thing on top of it. And that's one reason they bought it.
Yeah. Now, how do you was it you telling me that some of the Cub Scouts and Boy Scout groups would go up there?
Oh yeah, Boy Scouts would camp out up there at least once a year. In fact, it was interesting from our farm down there. You could see their fires at night up there on the. It was really good.
How high of an elevation is that?
1,300 feet.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were telling me that Seward Air Force Base used that as a turn, like a site.
Whenever they was training out there with the C-130s.
That was cool.
They would turn and come through there. It was pretty interesting for me as a farm kid out there, see that C-130s to come through there and circle through there and come around. It's an interesting old knob that's out there right now.
What's the highest elevation in Rutherford County?
That's pretty close to one. There's a continuous argument on which is, you got Pinnacle that's like that way. Everybody talks about Tiger Hill over here. Yeah. It depends where you live and what the stories are and how they are. And they're all fairly close to about the same height.
Yeah, I've heard the same rumor, like about being the highest place on Buckeye Bottom Road. If you come the old Buckeye Bottom Road,
okay.
If you look down, you could see the air base, kind of, in a way. And not everything, but I've always heard that rumor. But like you said, there's several rumors, and off
Buckeye Bottom, I can't think of a place that's that one
high. Drop. It is if you my granddad used to own all that.
Really?
And he might have made that story up. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty high up. I can remember.
Well, Todd Lane to me is high, but
gravel.
to y'all, that's nothing because I grew up over Todd Lane, and you could see the air base, and you could see, or the airport, and not the airport, you could see Nissan, and you could see, I guess, what do you call the trash? Mount Trashmore. What is there a name for that hill?
Or is it in Walter Hill?
You're talking about Middle Point?
Middle Point. I guess, is that what you refer to?
That's the official name.
Official? Okay.
It's not Mount Trashmore. In fact, all over the United States, there are several of those Mount Trashmores.
That used to be a landfill, and they've converted over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, is it North Carolina or Virginia that has one?
North Carolina, I think. And you go out, you have to pay a mission. They got several parks on it and things.
Really?
Wow.
Well, it's like Metro Center. There used to be a place in Nashville that was the dump, and they, covered it
really?
over. Yeah, and built businesses out there.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Pettis, you also serve on the county commission. You've been on the commission how many years now?
I'm headed into my 12th year.
12th year.
Mm-hmm.
And you enjoy it?
Yeah.
What do you like the most about being on the county commission?
I think the contact with the people in the district that I have out there. I'm a District 8. I have Rockville, Eagleville in there, parts of Midland that's involved there. You're talking about 16,000 people, but yet when you're a rural commissioner, you don't share that with anyone else. Where if you're a city commissioner, you've got the city council to deal with. Well, my district out there, I have 4 schools that's in my district. When you talk about Rockville, there's 3 there: the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. And that one little complex there that you have there at Rockville, you're talking about approximately almost 5,000 children every day that's located there. Wow. Go down to Eagle, there's another 1,000 in that school. So I have those schools. I have 2 convenience centers that's located in mine. And then everything out my way pretty much are county roads.
Yeah.
So everything I have relates back to county, and when people have a problem, I'm the one they call.
Yeah. Well, they used to say, and you know the history better than I do of even the General Assembly, they used to say it was always rural versus urban back in the day. There's a little of that, not I don't think as much today, but I know when I was on the commission, all I had was the municipality of the town of Smyrna.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't deal with county issues and those areas. But one thing I'll compliment you on, because you've been fighting for the broadband for years. I mean, you would just hammer, and hammer some more.
Every time I get up, they
get
tired of it.
But you know what? You really you almost have to be that way. You know what I mean? Persistent. I forgot who there was a quote that says something about persistency will trump everything else. You just got to continue to be consistent like that. But United Communication looks like they've been a great partner with Middle Tennessee Electric. How's that worked out there?
We started with, I'll give Jeff Davison credit and myself. We went over there during Mayor Burgess's, when he was mayor. We went over there one day and sat down with United and told them what we were interested in. They said, well, we'll look at it and see what we could do. They did an experimental development out there off of Alisona Road. They said, I think this will work, and we started pushing that away. Then we started working, trying to get the grants and things. And we did get it in the Eagleville area, the rural area there. We started expanding in that area out there, and for long, Eagleville became an internet city.
Yes.
We had a lot of it happening there. Then we tried to expand into the Rockville area. We started going that way. United started going away, and all of a sudden United said, hey, look what we got.
Yeah.
And then they started working with Middle Tennessee Electric and started working there. And then all of a sudden, they've gone to the city of Murfreesboro now.
Yeah.
So now they're very heavy in the city of Murfreesboro doing that. Right now, I'm sitting here with some places in the rural area, especially in the Rockville area, that there is not internet in some of those rural areas. My main goal was getting it in the rural area because they just can't get it. But now, those areas that are not getting it out there, they've sat there and waited for so long, waiting for it. A lot of them have gone to Starlink, and
Really?
they're going to those type of
Well, that's the
things.
great thing about competition. I'm a little disappointed with Comcast, to be honest with you. I've switched over to United Communication years ago. We switched our business over there, switched our home plan. But I guess one of our stylists decided to go with Comcast on her area that she leases from us, and Comcast, they just laid the line. I mean, it's just, if you've seen Happy Roger's over helping me do some stuff. They just laid their line across the back of the property, just laid it right across there. They did go on the sidewalk, and I've been called, man, you try to get a hold of Comcast, good luck. I mean, I've had to call the town of Smyrna Public Works to see if they can get a hold of Comcast. It's their line. You need to get your line up, but man, they've really disappointed me. But what I like is competition, whether it's Google Fiber.
That's who I got.
You got Google. How much is that a month?
$72. Never changes. It hadn't changed in like 12 years. The price. How
they haven't went up.
Haven't went up. That's what they told me when I went, because I was disgusted with
Comcast.
Yeah, and the other day I had a problem and got a hold to them. They told me when they'd be there. The guy was there, and he solved it. Now, I was about 2 days without, my wife. But we did have it on our phones, like Fubo and stuff like that.
Mike, what's interesting, I spent all that time trying to get the internet and whatever, and you know who can't get United?
You?
Me.
Are you serious? That is funny.
It's not on my road at all.
That's kind of an oxymoron.
It's just,
irony.
That's just pretty much, sort of like the cobbler, he don't have any shoes.
Or the car mechanic usually drives the junkiest car. You ever notice that?
But of all things, who comes out and puts on my pole is Comcast. They come out there to put it on my pole.
They did.
And it's there. But in fact, I called Chris up here at the Middle Tennessee Electric, and I said, what am I supposed to do? They're out here on this pole trying to set this line up out here.
Yeah.
He said, it's going to be a while before you get it. You might want to go ahead and do that.
Chris is a great guy.
So I had to do that, and I didn't want to, but I still don't have. United still has not come down that road.
Really?
And it was quite, it's sort of like water lines and things like that. I've known people whose children, whatever, work for Consolidated, and their parents did not have water.
Wow, really?
So it works that way at times. But yes, that's been one thing that I think has been vital, because when I started running for county commissioner, I would go in homes, and I've seen these hot spots that you can get from Verizon. I've seen melted ones setting these homes where kids were trying to do their homework, and they just used that thing so much it overheated.
Yeah.
And these people would tell me about how many of those things they would use, and they said we would end up going to Murfreesboro to McDonald's to finish up homework and things. So that got me started. And of course, I was having the same problems. That's the time I was actually using dial-up and trying to get something there, and I said, this isn't going to work. So,
AOL.
Yeah, and all that. So,
but you need somebody like Baker Rayburn comes to mind. He's in my Rotary Club, and he would, just like you, he would always hammer me every time I'd see him. He would talk about the need for broadband and the kids, and I got another Rotarian, Bobby Hopkins. I mean, he will wear me out on the driver testing station. And now it was kind of ironic. I seen him the other day at a ribbon cutting, and he said, "Man, I got my driver's license renewed the other day." He said it didn't take him 10 minutes. I mean, it's usually 3.5, 4 hours, And
where'd he go?
I don't know if he went to Blackman at the Bart Smith building. Bart, you remember Bart Smith?
No.
And over there, and I went over twice, and it was so crowded. I just left. I went all the way to Lebanon, and they got they got me in over there. It was a couple months ago, but I called the state to see about or my wife called to get an appointment, and it was going to be 2 or 3 months before they could get me in.
Well, you got everybody that's trying to get the real ID.
You got yours done?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No. My daughter has been after me, and I went on my first vacation. I hadn't been anywhere in 13 years.
Yeah.
And at the 1st of June, I went. She made reservations, and I was in the reservation, so I had to go.
Where'd you go?
We went down to Orange Beach.
Oh, good for you.
So they were wanting to go over and see the Blue Angels. Mm-hmm. But to get in on that base right there, you got to have a real ID.
Oh, really?
And she said, "You can't get in." I said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to sit here and watch the water. I'm not going to go watch. I've seen the Blue Angels."
I know.
And I said, "I'm not worried about it." I said, "I'm not flying anywhere."
Yeah.
I said, "If I can't find it in Rutherford County, I don't need it."
Exactly.
That's the way I look at things now.
Yeah.
I said, "Here I am now. I'll be 77 in October."
Yeah.
And I said, "If I can't find it here, I don't need it. I don't really want to go." I said, "The only place I'm going to go outside of Rutherford County, if it's got something historical, or if it's got something related to the state of Tennessee." And I said, "That keeps me within this state." Yeah. So as far as me needing a real ID, I said, I'm about as real as they're going to get, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I stand with Pettis on that. I'm the same. I'm the same way. I mean,
well, speaking of history, and I wanted to pay a tribute to somebody that you and I knew, the late Senator Frank Nicely. Frank passed away. Was it Friday he passed?
Friday or Thursday. I can't remember which.
You knew him. He was a long time East Tennessee lawmaker. He was a big advocate for agriculture, and he would just share funny little stories that got a lot of people's attention, whether it was about cockfighting or I'd heard stories. Bill Kitcher would tell me a few stories, and you remember the one about I think they were banning smoking in restaurants or something, and you remember that story? I wish Bill Kitcher was on there. He could tell. I think the guy gets up and Frank talks about some people like to drink, some people like to smoke, some people like to cheat on their wives, and it was just all this stuff,
Frank was good at it. He was up there around Morristown.
Yeah.
And I knew Frank before he got into the legislative thing because he was in Farm Bureau.
Oh, okay.
He's part of that group up there, and that's the time that I was part of Farm Bureau. And of course, I was dealing things with the communications, and I'd go up there for different meetings at that time. And Frank would always be one of those, like you were talking about. If he had something he was pushing, he would always be on you or whatever. But I can hear that voice as he talked to you, and he get down, he get deeper and deeper and deeper if he wanted something. But Frank was a good guy. He was.
Man, he really was. It's just, the real loss. I was in Memphis when I'd heard about him, and I think I seen a few times he spoke, and very colorful guy. And I was in Memphis in my first year at a conference, and down there, a lot of state lawmakers there. We were going to go visit John DeBerry's church, and I heard two lawmakers arguing, two Republican lawmakers, and this other lawmaker, that other one walked away, walked off, and Frank was standing there, and the guy says, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to introduce this guy to a constituent in the industry he was in. I think it was pest control." And he said, "Man, that guy wanted to be all sarcastic and stuff, and he I knew the other guy. The other guy's deceased as well, and I know what Frank said. This is really cool. Frank said, you got to be humble. Humility always wins, or something to that extent about being humble, and that always kind of stuck with me. So he kind of, but I mean he played that part, but that was really him, right?
That was him. That was totally him. That's where he come from. That's where he was a full-time farmer. That's was his life. That was his way he was raised and grew up. He could talk to you. He could talk to anybody. He was he looked after his people. Anything agriculture, and he did not always agree with you.
Exactly.
A lot of times Farm Bureau would be working on something or lobbying on something. He didn't agree with us.
Yeah.
And he would tell you.
I bet he would.
He would tell you. And that, that's the thing I like about the rural community and the way people are in that area is the fact that they'll let you know right quick, hey, I don't like that. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay with me.
What do you do when people get mad? You ever have anybody at Farm Bureau get mad?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Walk out of a meeting or anything?
Well, I haven't had any. I've never seen that many people walk out of a meeting, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of people who get mad. But I learned early on that you just take it and you move on. Say, okay, we'll see what we can do. In Farm Bureau, you learn real quick that compromising is about as good as anything you can get in the way you can do things.
Yeah.
I can remember an old American Farm Bureau president. He always said, you don't compromise on your principles until the person has you down on the ground and has his foot on your throat.
Yeah.
And then you look up at him and say, why don't we compromise?
Really?
And he says, that's where you go with things.
Yeah.
And I always remember him saying that. And, you know, I started with Farm Bureau back in 69.
Yeah.
Just as coming out of college. So I had the opportunity of meeting some of these, what I call characters.
Yeah.
And they were real characters. And what they were not put on.
Yeah.
They were right there. That's where a lot of my writing come from, my columns and things, and where that comes from. And I'm afraid today we're losing a lot of the character that we have in this state and this country, and people who put things into these areas. And it's it does bother me. It bothers me in the way that we see these things. So that's where I have benefited, and that's where I have tried as an elected official to, I don't say be a character, but it's been somebody that has put my whole attention to whatever we're doing. I've never tried to work on something for benefit to me, but only for benefit towards the citizens I'm working for.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of that right now with Plan Rutherford.
Yeah.
It's totally for the citizens.
You ever heard the term "bless your heart"?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
That's what I think of. Bless your heart when you're dealing with something like that.
We sell stickers out there.
Bless your heart.
Plan Rutherford's been somewhat like that.
Yeah.
We're now in 3 years working on this, going all the way back to 22.
Wow.
I'm in my second mayor on this, and I didn't ask to be on the steering committee.
You got, what's it called, voluntold?
You got to say, hey, you're going to be on this.
That is.
And in fact, everybody that was on the steering committee that put all of this together and worked on it got paid nothing. They worked on it totally as volunteers. They too were told, hey, I'm putting you on this.
Yeah.
And every one of them had no reason to be nothing. They were not involved in what I call real estate. They were not involved in developing or building anything.
Yeah.
They were just people interested in the county and where we go with land use planning.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
Well,
it.
I guess every area of the county has its unique personality. Laverne, Eagleville,
Absolutely.
Rockville, Murfreesboro,
Absolutely.
Smyrna.
Absolutely. And then you get everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
And what this Plan Rutherford is just another comprehensive plan. We had our first comprehensive plan go way back all the way to began in 2009. That's when they started having the first public hearings.
Mm-hmm.
It went into 2010, trying to finalize and put together, and it was approved in 2011. And that became the first one we started operating with. But then when you turn around and look, starting with 2011, we started gaining 700 people a month in Rutherford County, and doing it till today. And then we're looking at, 500,000 by the time of 2045 added to what we've got now. So it come up to the fact that we were going to have another comprehensive plan. Plan Rutherford come about, and rather than just calling it a second comprehensive plan, they had to have a name. So everybody said, well, just call it Plan Rutherford. So 2022, that started with Bill Ketron. And they had the first community hearing where everybody could come out to Lane Agri-Park, out and voice their opinion. And then we went about the county doing more. We had one in Smyrna. We had one in Christiana, which is Plainview. They were in Las Casas. They were in Rockvale, Las Casas, and it was open to the entire public of Rutherford County to come out and say, okay, what do you want your county to be? How are we going to handle growth? What do you want in it? They were given maps of Rutherford County and said, okay, should we be doing? How should we be doing building? How should we be doing us? What's our biggest problem? Number one problem is traffic.
Yes.
So we started working on all this, and we took everything everybody was saying. We had somewhere between 700 and 800 people that was involved in that, and everybody said, well, that's not many people. Well, you got to look at when you vote in Rutherford County, you have, 3% sometimes?
Exactly.
So this was pretty a good eyeball-to-eyeball cut of what people are wanting in Rutherford County, and we took it all down. But then we set up, of course, an internet page, a web page where they can come and still voice these things, and we had them. So the steering committee met all the way up until about the middle of last year, coming down in, about the fall of last year, and it was turned over primarily to the Planning Commission. And at that time, the Planning Commission has been working on it, doing study groups, looking at it and going that way, making changes. This map that I hold right here in my hand, that map right there is I guess you could say, is the secret to everything that we've done. It lists all the different areas of where you can develop, what's problem area, and this sort of thing. The interesting thing about Plan Rutherford, and this being a comprehensive plan, it's not law, it's a plan.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're building a house, you have a house plan. This is a plan for growth and land use in Rutherford County. And it'll be 94 pages when it's all completed and finished. Tomorrow night, there is another public hearing for anybody who wants to come say yay or nay, I like it, I don't like it.
And that'll be at the county commission?
It'll be at the county commission office or room up there in the courthouse.
Okay.
That's where it'll be. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Let's take a quick break, Connor, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Allie Dowenhauer with Isaiah 117 House. Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support for children awaiting foster care placement here in Rutherford County. We are changing the way foster care begins, and those kiddos are brought to our house to hang out and wait for a foster family, and they're given everything they need. We support foster children, DCS, and foster families here in Rutherford County. Visit us at www.isaiah117house.com or visit our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Rutherford County.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to CelebrateRecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
Josh Moss with Affordable Heating and Cooling provides residential HVAC and duct cleaning services to the Middle Tennessee area. With more than 20 years of experience, Josh Moss and the AHC team provide 24/7 service and take care to ensure whatever work you need done is done in a professional, timely manner. Contact AHC at 615-745-1676. That's 615-745-1676. Or go to their website at affordableheatingandcoolingtn.com.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps, but I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliates.
Mike and Felicia Sparks, owner of the Vanity Zone Salon, want to invite you to stop in for your next haircut or color. Their stylists Michelle, Tori, Tracy, Brandy, Sarah, and Gail offer the best creative cuts and color for all ages, for men and women. The Vanity Zone is located at 732 Nissan Drive in Smyrna, to the right of the Crystals Restaurant. To look and feel your best, visit the Vanity Zone Salon today. Call 615-355-1721 to book your next appointment.
Is your car running like a dream, or does it need a little TLC? At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we treat your vehicle like it's one of our own. Let's hear what some customers have to say about Dr. Automotive.
Been coming to them ever since he opened up. Good family. I recommend to other people to get them repaired here because I knew they would do it and do it right. Been happy to send people to him because I trust what he does so much.
We're crazy about him. It's all about the doctor.
For quality care you can trust, visit Dr. Automotive in Smyrna. We've got the cure for your car.
Hey everybody, my name is Marcus Manise. I am the founder and executive director of Strong in My Father Youth and Family Services. Our organization is designed to help young men growing up in homes with our Father have a better chance at a better life and a better opportunity. Our organization is preventative, so our goal is to prevent kids from going to jail, juvenile, but live out the purpose that God truly has designed for them. For all information on our organization, if you're looking for a mentorship program and your child is between grades 2nd through 9th, we encourage you to go to our website, stronginmyfather.org, for more information. Sign up to be a part of Stronger Sons Mentorship Program. And then we're hoping that this program continue to help your son live out the true dreams that God truly has designed for them.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get 'em, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more.
All right, we're back. Conversation, Mike Sparks. Got some good old boys on my show tonight. Commissioner Pettis Reed, Roger Thomas. Speaking of hills and back roads and growing up in Rutherford County, what was it like before we get into this plan? We're talking about. Did you see a lot of craziness back in the county back in years ago? Y'all didn't see much moonshine, stuff like that.
I have been sworn to secrecy.
Can't talk about it.
You know, I can't really.
You on the spot.
There's a lot of things.
Because you're going to church after this meeting, right?
I am. But I grew up in like I said, I told you there's a lot of characters and whatever. Yeah. There were people, my mama said, don't you go see them. Don't you go nowhere near them or whatever. And of course, being a boy and whatever, I went and talked to them.
Yeah.
Went to see them. But, I found out they were people just like anybody else and whatever. But it was a wonderful time, I got to say, at the time that I grew up.
Yeah.
It was just that we lived, for my first 15 years, we lived in a 3-room house with an attached kitchen on the back.
How many y'all?
There were 5.
5
in the family. And we had no indoor plumbing, minimal electricity. I put it that way, minimal electricity. We had 2-3 plugs in the whole house.
Really?
Everything come off that light bulb in the ceiling, There were cords that run off of that.
Yeah.
But
do you remember it before you had electricity, or do you
No, I remember there was electricity when I was there. But I was born in a log house across the road. It was my great-great-great-granddaddy's house. I was born
what was his name?
Huh?
What was his name?
His name was was Vincent Taylor.
Vincent Taylor.
Okay. That was on my grandmother's side. And that old house is still there. I got a first cousin lives in it today.
Really?
But that's where I was born. There was 2 cotton fields on each side of the house.
Yeah.
We moved across the road in this little house, and we were there for 15 years in that house. But like you talk about today, everybody's talking about heat advisory or whatever.
Yeah.
You got a big old fan is all you had, and you slept at the foot of the bed where the window was because that's where the breeze would come through every now and then.
Is it hotter today than it was back then?
No,
it's not. Okay,
it's the same thing. I mean, you got used to it.
Yeah,
but what today is everybody's running around with the cell phone or they're watching something on television, whatever. Television didn't have 3 stations.
Yeah.
And it went off around 10 or 11 o'clock.
Yep.
They played the national anthem,
Yep.
and it went off.
And what was that High Flight, the Jet? What was that? You remember that? What was that poem he would read?
Yeah, that'd
you-
come on in the mornings usually. That's when that come up. You know, you had the Indian chief on there for the longest. That was the test pattern.
Indian chief.
Yeah, it was a chief.
Really?
Uh-huh.
We were the remotes back in. We were also
and
the
that's was the
adjusted-
test pattern that was on the television.
Really?
A test pattern was on the screen all the time, and it was
I don't
this
remember that.
this Native American in a headdress, and that's what that picture was on the television.
Why
Walter
did they
You
use
remember
the
Walter
Indian?
Cronkite, right?
Yeah.
But news. Now, here's the thing I think makes it different.
I'm just curious about this Indian.
This is the thing
Why would
about
they use the
news.
Indian guy?
This is the thing about the difference in it. You didn't have news 24 hours.
Yeah.
At
4 o'clock,
night,
wasn't it?
it come on at 6 o'clock. 30 minutes, it's through.
After the big show.
After that, and then it went
Lawrence-
in.
you watched
It
a lot
went
of
into
Lawrence
their
Welk.
programs or whatever.
You watch a lot of Lawrence Welk.
Saturday night.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Did y'all like that kind of stuff?
Well, man, that's all you watched. That's all there was.
Remember Eddie Hill used to come on in the mornings, and then there was Bobby Lord. Didn't he have a show at one time?
There was all
and
different kinds of things like
Ralph
that.
Emery. My
and
mom
then
used to be on Ralph Emery
Ding
every now
Dong.
and
You
then.
had Ding Dong School and Captain Kangaroo and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Bozo. Bozo.
Romper Room, she
Bozo,
skipped
yeah.
school, and she had to be. She had to look through that mirror, and I see Roger. How did you know I'm not in school? You know?
But you know, it was a different time of life and whatever.
Yeah.
And most of my
Simpler,
time, like I said, we did have you know, everybody talks about air conditioning. The condition of the air in the house was the same as it was outside, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So we spent most of our time outside.
Yeah.
'Cause
On the porch.
That was at the no. We were out in the woods and everywhere swinging,
really?
swinging from a
We
grapevine
had
across
guns
a
back
crevice.
then. As a kid, you had a gun.
Really?
And we did, yeah, but it wasn't. I had a 22 when I was a kid.
22 rifle, single shot.
Yeah. See, that's what we. That's what my kids had.
Where did y'all, like in the winter, where would you like sled at? Did y'all ever go sledding or anything?
We never owned a sled.
Owned a sled?
We never owned a
Did you ever
sled.
put the plastic bags over your shoes?
We would no, we didn't have plastic
had
bags.
plastic.
We had paper bags.
bread bags. Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
we built a slick spot behind the house and would slide on it like we were skating and things that day. But you know, it's just a different life than what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
And I think families were really close to that point.
Yeah.
My brother was 8 years older than I was. My sister was 6 years older.
Now, how
and
many
they
of your
took
family
him-
members are still around, still here?
None.
Really? Your
I'm
last-
in.
Really? Well, you invited me a few years ago. You had John DeBerry come in for a revival at your church, and I sat there. And I guess your wife had passed how many years ago?
It'd be 16 years.
16, yeah. And I really appreciate you inviting me over there because I'm not trying to make fun of Church of Christ. I don't want to be mad at me, but you know y'all don't say amen, right? You don't clap, right? And you don't play musical instruments, okay? Anyways, nobody gave me I didn't get the memo, so I'm like starting to clap and start to say amen for John because John's one of the guys you got to say amen, you got to clap, But that really meant a lot to me because. A lot of folks, I think they know what happened to John DeBerry. The Democrat Party took him off the ballot, and he was the strongest voice for the Democrat Party in the state of Tennessee, no doubt. And he is a strong Christian believer, and they took him off the ballot. And I funded some videos and hired some filmmakers, and you were one of the first people to step up to help me. So God bless you for doing that. And John went on what they meant for evil. God meant it for good because the governor hired him. He's the first African American to be on the first floor of the state capitol, and that story has never been told. But now let's get into the media. I mean, because you're a big media guy. I mean, this media should tell that story. Here the governor helped make history with John DeBerry, and it's like crickets. We can't talk about this. But I appreciate you helping. If folks want to see more, just type in YouTube, Mike Sparks, John DeBerry. But John has got such a compelling story. John's like you. He lost his wife probably 8 years ago, I guess.
Something like that.
And just a real trailblazer. And are y'all about the same age, I guess, you and John?
Probably within that same area.
Yeah.
More than likely. It's he's a good guy.
When I went to visit his church, I just assumed he was a Baptist minister. And I got there and I was shocked because it was Church of Christ, but I remember him telling me after the sermon, it was me and Mike Bell, Jeremy Faison, and I think another person was with us. And we were out there in front of his church, and he told me, because he's Shelby County in Memphis, and he would say, Mike, he said, there's prostitution going on our streets. There's drug dealing going on right over at that corner. And I'm thinking how fortunate we are to live here in Rutherford County.
I don't remember growing up around that at all, do you? If it was, I didn't know anything about it. Did you? I mean, around in Smyrna, anywhere like that?
No, man, we were so blessed. You're looking back, so
smaller
blessed
town
to
like
live
that.
here.
It just wasn't that kind of. You knew all the police and everything. It just wasn't that way. But anyway, I was going to give a shout out to Pettis on. He does do a lot of volunteer teaching work. We got that straighted out. At Sam
He's
Davis
not an
home.
exhibitionist. He's what's it called?
Showman. No, he actually does a smokehouse. Teaches kids about it.
Demonstrating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And anyway, but we really appreciate him about that. I love, I'll get over and talk to him. Sometimes he had a clock set up one time. The time it didn't work out at all, did it, Pettis? We had so many
did
people.
not work.
But
well, are you on the board? Are you on Sam Davis' board?
He's a trustee.
Let me ask you this, and if something ever happens to you, this is for the record. What do you want all your writing? Are you donating them to MTSU, or where's that going?
Well, right now, everything I wrote for Farm Bureau belongs to Farm Bureau.
It does.
That's the way that operates. See, I was working for them when I wrote all of that. Every bit of that.
We want to talk
And
about
they have
somebody that you and I both like, the former governor, the late Ned Ray McWhorter.
Yeah, Ned Ray. We were having problems with West Tennessee. There was a lot of flooding happening down there. And what it was is flooding a lot of the fields that farmers had there, and they were needing help. Well, they couldn't just go in there and clear it because of the Clean Water Acts and things of this type. So they were trying to get some of this done and getting permission through this sort of thing, and we had what I call the tree huggers and this sort of thing stopping it and this sort of thing. He needed help. Well, a member of our staff, who happened to be the CEO of the company, says, we'll provide for you a video. We'll get this all done and shoot and give you this great video that you can present.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was the one in charge of that.
Yeah.
So we wrote a script. I was sent to West Tennessee to do this. I go down there to shoot. They have and over there in Obion County in this area, they have a bunch of canals. They're man-made canals, but over the years, they've blocked and something. Things have fallen in there and that sort of thing. They put me in a flat-bottom boat to begin with, and we started jumping these things in that flat-bottom boat. And on each side of me, this was a hot August day, there were some of the largest cottonmouth snakes you ever seen in your life. And I knew in a minute they were going to fall in that boat. Well, I made it through there shooting all that video, and they said, well, we need one more thing. They carried me out to the airport. And I got in a two-seater plane, no doors, named the Spirit, named the Spirit of 76. It looked like it went through 1776. I mean, the stuffing was coming out of it and all this stuff. So I went up with this pilot, a former Korean War pilot, and we go up there and we're flying, and I'm trying to get everything shot from this plane. All of a sudden, though, I realized I needed to get this was before drones now. You got to remember this while I was doing this. I couldn't get the swamp. The plane was in the way. So I asked this pilot, it was August day, we were riding up there. I said, how still can you hold this plane? He said, man, I can hold it so still you can walk out on those wings. I said, okay, you hold it. I stepped out on the wheel.
Really?
I had my feet on the wheel. I was tethered to the recorder inside. I said, you better hold this still. But I said, I'm not coming back up here anymore. I want you to understand that. And I shot all this video out there on this wheel of this plane. And I stepped back in. And then we tried to land, and the humidity was so heavy, it kept pushing the plane up.
Really?
We couldn't get down. So finally we get down. And I thought, I jumped down, almost kissed the ground because I said,
Yes.
Lord, thank you for getting me through this.
Yeah.
CEO was down there. He says, I want to go up.
Really?
And I had to go back up with him
Oh.
and shoot some more. But we did that video for governor.
Yeah.
That had a huge crowd in Jackson. We got what we wanted through the legislature and all of this. In fact, that video won a national award.
Really?
So,
Really?
so it all went well.
You know, I met Ned Ray at Lee Victory's Fish Fry. I was sitting there, felt out of place, and he pulled up and he come straight over to me. He said, "Young man, how you doing?" And I didn't know what to say. I said, "Sir, you still eating them vanilla wafers?" And Dan Whittle put me in the paper the next day with him. And,
He was a
then
good guy.
Then he called me at my car business wanting a car. I didn't know it was him. He said, "I used to be the governor." I'm like, "Governor?" He said, "Yeah, my name Ned Ray McWhorter."
He used to be one of my customers.
Yeah,
When I
just
owned my printing
a
business.
folksy guy,
He
just a
is.
legend of
He
a
is.
guy.
He's a
you
good
know.
guy. But I want people just to remember, if they got anything to say about Plan Rutherford,
Yep.
like to see him tomorrow night up here at the courthouse, 6 o'clock.
Also, you can go to planrutherford.org. to see more.
.org.
All right,
And it's
thank you,
on
Patty.
there. You got some great maps. They show you every road in Rutherford County, where the possible future problems are on roads, where we got possibilities of widening and all this sort of
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Everything.
All right, well, thank you, Connor. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty Reed. Folks, we'll talk to you next week.